Today I'd like to talk about the X32 and LV1 setup I used with the McCartney Project, a tribute band that covers Paul McCartney's solo career as well as his work with Wings and of course the Beatles. As soon as I began working with the band, we discussed ways to improve and streamline the sound system they had been using, and we settled on a combination of the X32 format with an XWSG card to interface with my Waves LV1. The X32 was introduced in 2012 and quickly became an industry standard. It came in 5 formats: the full-size X32, the compact, the producer, the rack, and the core, which has now been discontinued. Every unit runs the same software, so the only difference is whether or not the unit has I/O and faders. We use a pair of X32 rack units mounted in one 8-space rack. Having 2 units instead of one full-size console has a number of advantages. First, the smaller form factor is easier to transport, and the size also takes up little space on the stage. The use of 2 units also provides the ability to have a backup console in the event of a failure. The total number of available inputs and outputs is increased, and the musicians can control their in-ear mix with iPad apps without any possibility of interfering with the house mix. Here's how we use it. The 2 units are connected via their AES-50 ports on the rear. This allows each unit to see all of the available inputs between the units. They are also both connected to one single wireless router that allows musicians to control their mixes by connecting to the network address of the upper unit, while the mix engineer can control the lower unit for the house mix. Since the 2 units share inputs but are running independently, it allows the order of the inputs to differ on each unit. On stage, each of our musicians have a variety of inputs, and each one has a small analog subsnake to carry their signals to the console. This means that their inputs show up on the upper X32 channels in various combinations. This is ideal for the musicians so that they can control all of their own inputs quickly and easily on stage with their iPads. Unfortunately, this arrangement can be very confusing for a mix engineer, because most prefer to group things together in a more traditional sense. All of the vocals together, all of the guitars together, and so on. But since the lower unit is independent of the upper unit, it's simple to rearrange the inputs into something that makes more sense. At this point, you're probably thinking, yes, but what happens when things go wrong? Each unit has an emergency mix preset that can be recalled as needed. With a little simple repatching, you can be back up and running within a few minutes. It's a great sense of security to never be without a console. Each unit comes with a USB interface card in the slot on the rear. We replaced this in the lower unit with a Waves XWSG card. While I am very comfortable with the X32 series of mixers, I prefer to use my Waves LV1 console as often as I can. The LV1 was introduced in 2016 and has quickly found its place in the live sound industry with its flexibility, scalability, and affordability. In addition to the X32 card, there are other cards for Yamaha, Allen & Heath, and other consoles. In the LV1, it is easy to route the inputs into whatever order you want them using the patching grid. Your choices there are reflected right here under each one of your inputs. Additionally, the ability to make stereo channels allows you to have more inputs on a layer than can be done with the X32, like I have with my overhead mics here. But the real fun with this system is in the plugins. Since this is a McCartney tribute act, you have probably guessed that I make use of the Abbey Road series of plugins. I have the real ADT assigned to a subgroup with all the background vocals. It's a great effect for the psychedelic era Beatles material. I also have the chambers set up on the vocal trip preset, which is the effect you hear in the breaks of Paperback Writer. Of course, I also have the Abbey Road plates on my vocals. Then on some of the instruments I have some key plugins to give things a little extra vibe, like the Red 17 and Fairchild on the acoustic guitar. For my vocals, I make extensive use of the F6 and C6 plugins, which give me a lot more flexibility than a standard EQ. The other great thing about using this system is that I still have all of the DigiGrid I/O available to me. I often use a few channels at front of house for talkback as well as an RTA. As you can see in this channel, the RTA is run into a channel on the console, but it is not sent to the main left-right. Then, in my Graphic EQ plugin, I can bring it in through the side chain, and I can compare the curves with the noise generator that I send through the PA. It's a great, quick way to ring out the room. We have been very happy with this system. I hope it gives you some ideas for integrating the X32 and LV1 for your own purposes. Till next time, may all of your choices be fruitful.